What's going on, guys? Welcome back to my channel, and today I have what hopefully is my final team update. I've done so many trades over the last 2 weeks. It's been crazy with the trades, and just it feels like my team changes 100 times every day, but I finally feel like I've settled on something, and this is it. It's been an absolute headache, this game. There's a few things that I'm still not fully happy with, like some of my rookies on my bench. I would like to get Dylan Stevens and someone, just I don't know. I just feel like I should get a bit more, maybe a Thin instead of a Dean and a Stevens instead of a Parker. But yeah, we'll talk about each line and break it down. So basically, I am not opposed to avoiding Lloyd as a starting pick. I think he looked very mediocre in the practice game, and look, it seems like Sydney want to change their play style and maybe his role. But look, if he does have that same role when the season actually does start, and he is just, they're moving, they're chipping around the back line like North do, then Lloyd will be hard to get in, especially with Dawson out. They're really going to look to him as their designated kick taker, not just specifically kick-ins, but just moving the ball from defense. It feels like it's always going through Lloyd's hands. He does love to stat pad as well. So, yeah, I think Lloyd, it's risky. Like, it's not risky to go without him, but at this point, I just don't like the other options. If there wasn't Aaron Hall, I probably would prefer Hall to Lloyd, but Crisp, I just don't trust fully. I think Collingwood's midfield probably can get beaten pretty badly just about every game. I think they're terrible. As hard as that is for Collingwood fans to hear, I think their midfield's going to really struggle this year. Anyway, let's move on. So Jaden Short, so many kick-ins, has that cheesy role where he just, kicks long every time, and it feels like all he does is kick. He doesn't ever handball. So I think Short's a safe pick with Hooley out. Obviously, Hooley was taking the kick-ins. Loston didn't play in the practice match. That is one thing to note. I'm pretty sure he didn't, at least. And he apparently takes a few kick-ins, so keep an eye on it. But I think Short, for that price, could possibly be a 580, 600k player most of the season with his more secure role. Whitfield didn't set the world on fire. Pretty poor ball use, I thought, when I was watching him. A few dumb turnovers. It seems like he doesn't have that precise accuracy he used to have, which is really weird. But at this point, maybe he was just, getting back into the swing of things. I don't know. I'm happy to take the risk on Whitfield. 500k, very underpriced for what he's capable of. Could be a 600k player very early in the season. So I think it's safer to start with Whitfield than it is to not start with him. And that brings us to George Hewitt. So this is a very, very interesting one because I don't think he's going to be top 6. That being said, he could, because he does have a new role and it's a new club. It seems like he will be let off the leash a bit, and we've seen what happens when taggers move to on-ballers, and basically they've already got that two-way play style in their game. Like with Steele and Miller, they tackle heaps. The funny thing with Hewitt is he's kind of known for tackling, and he didn't even tackle, I don't think, in the practice match. He had 30-something touches without many tackles. So I think when the actual real stuff starts, he probably does tackle, which is scary to see what he could average. But it is, I do see the other side of the fence where it is a very mediocre player for most of his career. We're expecting him to just suddenly average a ton. It's an awkward one. It's a big 50-50 whether it's going to work or not. I think the role is there, especially with Walsh out. I don't think Walsh coming back affects him either. I did hear something Carlton said. Someone from Carlton said, I saw it in the Discord in the preseason channel, that Carlton said Hewitt's going to be a full-time mid, regardless of Walsh coming back or not. And I think basically what Walsh does is he kicks Kennedy out of the midfield, which is okay. Kennedy we're not going to have anyway. He's not going to have 37 touches every week and kick 3 goals or whatever he had. So yeah, we don't need to worry about Kennedy. And yeah, I think Hewitt's safe in the midfield. They might put Cherry on a wing. But yeah, I think Cripps, Hewitt and Walsh are their main 3. So for me, is he going to be a keeper? Maybe F6. Sorry, not F6. Maybe D6. But, we can't expect him to be a keeper. But hopefully. he is. So moving on to the midfield. So this is where the headaches have been really, really bad. So McRae, we'll talk about him briefly. I think you just have to pick him. He's M1 for a reason. He's probably going to be M1, 2 or 3, let's be honest, by the end of the season. So does Trelaw moving into the midfield affect him? I'm not sure. Dunkley there. I think it only affects Bont, to be honest. The whole Trelaw and Dunkley and Bailey Smith moving to the midfield. I think it really just affects Bont. I think McRae's pretty safe in the midfield. And one thing about McRae is he doesn't need CBAs to score well. You saw that in the grand final, and I think the prelim he didn't have too many CBAs. Could be wrong, but yeah, with McRae, it's just like, he's going to get the ball around the ground. He loves going to the back line to get cheapies. Just a perfect Supercoach player. So I think you have to start McRae. And Steele, well, Steele's one that I was a little bit concerned about because he really wasn't running. Like, he literally wasn't sprinting. Whether he's carrying an injury or not, or just doesn't care, I'm not too sure. And I'm happy to bet against him to having an injury because I think he was just taking it easy and wants to keep the body right for the real stuff. But at the same time, it's like Steele always goes really hard in the practice matches. I remember he had a 170 against Carlton. I think it was the first year he went to St Kilda, and he was really like, no one really knew about him back then. And we were like, whoa, who is this kid? And he was, yeah. So that's the thing that's a bit strange with Steele is he does usually go really hard in the preseason, but I'm pretty confident, his body's fine. He just wasn't trying. So we'll lock in Steele. And Tuke Miller, I think the biggest lock ever. Honestly, I think he averages 130 to 140 quite comfortably. It's a bold statement, but I think M1 for Miller by the season's end. Can't tag him. Too fast, too good. And he's only going to get better. As soon as he stopped tagging after round 6 or whatever, he just went berserk. So if you don't start Miller, it's very, very risky. I truly feel that way. I don't think he comes down in price at all. I think he floats between 650, 750 all year. So, yeah. Lockie Neal, yeah, he looked good, but he didn't score that well. For his numbers that he had, I thought he should have had a few more Supercoach points. Have they changed the scoring to a less Neal-friendly method? I don't think so, but maybe. Who knows? He had some big games last year and didn't score that much, I thought. But, yeah, I'm happy to take the risk on Neal. Just too good a value. I do want Cripps. I really do feel like Cripps, like I am a Carlton supporter, so I'm a bit biased, but I feel like he could be in Brownlow form, but I think he probably doesn't crack that top 8. And if he does, I feel like it's like an 80% chance he doesn't crack top 8. I think top 15, yes, but top 8, probably not. There are a lot of good scoring midfielders in the league. And Cripps does butcher the ball a bit. If he was a better kick, I'd definitely pick him, like no doubt. But he will have those clangers, those turnovers, and like we know, he's very injury prone. His body takes a big toll. One thing I will say about Cripps is, in the years he did go berserk, he was getting tagged a lot. So the idea of him not being tagged at all, because I don't think he does get tagged with Walsh in the team, and letting him run free, that is pretty scary. So yeah, is Cripps an upgrade target? Maybe. It feels like you have to start him or you're not going to have him all year. It's a tough one. I just think there are better options at this point. Anyway, yeah, Neal's a lock. I don't know how we ended up talking about Cripps more than Neal then. And then Matt Rao, I'm so confident in this pick. You know what? This is what I love about the Rao pick. I think I said it in my other video, but we could actually potentially have him as a keeper. Like, seriously, he could be a top 8 mid. It wouldn't surprise me at all. But at the same time, he's going to make money. He's going to get to that 550k quite comfortably, I believe. 2 120s in the JLT. He got tagged in the first one. I mean, like, come on. How good is this kid? I think he's fully back to what he was in 2019 or 20 or whatever his first year was. So lock Matt Rowell in. If you don't have him, I think it's just stupid. Like, the price is just too good, plain and simple. And then Horn Francis is someone I've flirted with trading out for Berry, but I think it's just too risky not to have Horn Francis, just because so many people have him. And if he does play mid early, like, I know Noble was saying like he wants to play him forward and stuff, but what if like a mid goes down early? What if they just realize how good he is in the mid and he just explodes? I don't want to take the risk and not have him in that situation. Dacos is a perfect Supercoach player. plenty of disposals, just knows how to find the ball, and really good user of the ball. So probably averages 80 plus, I would say. He's really, really good. Possibly a keeper if he becomes a defender in DPP. Possibly. We'll wait and see. Probably their best player already, if I'm being honest. And then Josh Ward. So we can't expect him to have the mid role, but I did hear that he will be moving to half back when Mitchell and Amira come back. So still a good role, and I think he knows how to find the ball as well. So definitely want to have Ward, Dacos, and Horn Francis. Horn Francis or Berry, I think either of them. I want to have them on field. So we got O'Driscoll, Stevens, and Parker. So O'Driscoll, we don't know if he's going to play. Stevens, he played okay in the practice match, and then Parker, he's pretty much just used for the forward mid, just so he can swing forwards up there. We've got Sean Darcy. So this is another interesting one, and I'm not fully set on that either. I kind of want to go Gorn, but I just think Darcy's role is a tight, more secure, like slightly more secure. Sorry. So it's like, do you go with Gorn, who has the runs on the board, or do you go with Darcy, who has a lot more upside and probably a bigger ceiling, just because he's got the role, 100% ruck time? I think you go with Darcy. Like he had 47 Dream Team and like 95 Supercoach. So has he got that Bont factor where he gets a bit bailed out? I don't know. He played pretty average, so that is a bit of a red flag in itself, the fact that he didn't play well. So we'll have to wait and see. But look, I think Darcy over Gorn at this point. It's very, very close though. Just don't know if Gorn can average 120 plus playing that role without ruck time. I don't know. It's a hard one. It's a really hard one. And then Grundy, well, I don't think he set the world on fire, but we just have to pick him. You know, he should get back to his best. He might not have been trying. Not too worried about Grundy. Dunkley, lock him in. Probably loses a few CBAs when Bailey Smith comes in. Apparently Bailey Smith's going to play mid. So we'll see about that. But I think Dunkley is one of their best, probably their best inside mid. I think he's much better than Libba, but Libba can't really play anywhere else, so he will get priority. But look, Dunkley at that price, you know what he can average. He averaged 130 before he got injured last year. I'm not taking the risk on not having him, plain and simple. Butters, I think, is another huge lock. The only question mark is his body and Ken Hinkley. So Ken Hinkley, we know what he's like, throwing the magnets around, changing roles and positions. I don't think he does it with Butters, just because Butters is so talented. Like, he really is just a beast. Such a good ball user, tackles, like, he's got a small frame, but like, he's really, really good. Play inside, outside. He can do everything, honestly. Wouldn't surprise me if he was F2. Wouldn't surprise me if he was F1 either. So lock Butters in if you can. Cogs is going to be a lock, probably a keeper. I'm counting him as a keeper. Will Brody looked really, really good in the practice match, and I know the Fife effect in the Monday. Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how they use Brody, but from what we've heard, they really like him as a midfielder, and hopefully he can make us a bit of money before those two come back, and we'll see what happens. But I just really like the upside to Brody. And same with Cherry. So Cherry, we assume is going to be the number one ruck. So we will wait and see with that. But if he gets named as ruck in the teams on Thursday night, or Wednesday or Tuesday, we start with Cherry. Otherwise, we probably just drop him to maybe a 102k, and then we upgrade Hayes to Bruce, something like that, or Parker to Dylan Stevens, something like that. Wait and see with Cherry, but there's a lot of upside to the pick as well. And then Rochelle, yeah, he's a gun. So his ability to score in, pretty bad losses, especially the first game, I think he's going to be a great money maker for us. It's similar to the row pick of last year, but I think he's got way more upside and he's a lot better. So, yeah, that's my team. So let's just discuss structure real quick. So we've got the 4, 5, 2, and 2. You count Cogs, it's 3. So one thing I did learn I watched the podcast with a guy who came top 10 overall in back-to-back years, and he said you got to try and have 12 keepers. So if I'm looking at my team, I've got Lloyd, Short, Whitfield. We're not even going to count Hill as a keeper for now, so that's 3. McRae, Steele, Miller, Neil Rao. That is 8. Darcy Grundy 10. And Dunkley Butters, so that's 12. And that's without counting Cogs and Hewitt as keepers, which I think they will be. But then again, like we don't know if Rao's a keeper. So, give or take, 11, 12, 13 keepers, which is a really good spot. I haven't taken too many risks, I feel, and that's another thing that guy said that really stuck with me, is if you actually minimize your risk in your starting team, it goes a long way because you save so many corrective trades you have to make throughout the season. And it really hit me because last year I started with Neil, so Neil hurt me. I started with Cripps, really hurt. Caleb Daniels, another one, they just burn you. Paddy Dow, a lot of 50-50s going wrong. So I think I've learned a lot this year. Obviously, it's a bit of an interesting year because we have those 5 extra trades. I think we should trade aggressively still, but at the same time, we've got to try and minimize those corrective trades where we're trading primos, because I had a lot of those last year, and that's what hurt me. And I'm sure it hurt a lot of other teams as well. So, yeah, not starting players like Cripps, I think it probably is a good idea, just because has got a pretty big element of risk. For me, the only real risk is Hewitt, to be honest. I flirted with the idea of Wits, but coming off an ACL, I don't trust his body at all. It's actually been a really long video, 17 minutes, God. But yeah, I should probably wrap it up anyway. But thank you guys if you stayed away for watching. Appreciate it. Let me know what you guys think in the comments, obviously. This is the week I really want to know what everyone has to say. So yeah, feel free to leave a comment, drop a like, whatever you guys want. Subscribe if you want to see more. We're going to try and be more consistent this year with the uploads, and try and do, every round, try and upload a video, just a recap, little discussion, nothing too crazy, but yeah. If you guys want to hear my viewpoints on it, feel free to subscribe. I'll see you in the next video.